Welcome back to MrJayDM, and today's video we're going to get back working on the 88 Honda Civic Wagon, the Nightmare Wagon. This thing has been a nightmare. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's a money pit and it's a nightmare. So right now I'm working on intake manifold, fuel rail, throttle body. My problem is I have this throttle body that fits on this intake manifold. Fits on there just fine. And I don't even know what it's from, because this plug is not familiar. I want to say it's from like a Y7, Y8. Well, it would have to be a Y8, because the Y7 throttle body is completely different. Because I don't know what this plug is. And then I have this intake, or this, and then I have this throttle body. It's from a B20, and that also fits. Maybe. That also fits. So I'll probably use this one, just because it doesn't have this extra plug. But then the only fuel rail I have is this one, and the problem is it doesn't line up. It lines up on this side, but not the middle and not this side. But it goes on this one just fine, this intake manifold. But neither one of these throttle bodies will mount to this intake manifold. So I think I need to dig around my shed and find a fuel rail that'll fit on that intake manifold, or a throttle body that will fit on this intake manifold. This looks like an HF. I mean, it's tiny. It is super small. But then again, this one looks pretty small too. The only real difference is the face. This one's longer, and the bolts are in a different location. This one doesn't have that extra drop. And so, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I mean, this fits, but the only problem is about that much of the throttle body sticks off the bottom. So let me go dig around in my shed and see if I can find a fuel rail or a throttle body. Alright, so I have this intake manifold, but that goes to my ZC, and I don't think the mounts are even the same. There's my ZC, and that manifold goes to this. I don't think it will mount. And we have this one here, no fuel rail, has the throttle body. Then I have this one. It seems to have everything. So let's grab this one and see if it'll fit. It is a D series, so I'd really like to use this one though. I think they're the same thing, to be honest. I don't see any other manifolds in my hoard, so we're gonna grab these two and see what we can do. All right, so this manifold, this one, and this one, they're all the same. But I realize that we have another issue. I want a throttle body that has the map sensor on top, because I deleted the whole map sensor EF bullshit thing that goes here, and I have the plug that goes directly to the map sensor here. So I need a throttle body that fits this manifold and has the map sensor on top. Either that, or I just need to find a whole different intake manifold. Yeah, these are all the same. PM6, HF2, PM6 HF2, PM6 HF3, and this manifold is a P06. Let me go back and hunt for something else in the shed. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled the intake manifold out just because I need to do all the wiring anyway, and this is a sort of kind of tucked harness. This would normally go up here on the firewall, but this is going to be tucked under the intake manifold, and I am going to strip this harness, and the only thing that is going to be shown are what needs to go to, like the sensors over here, the fuel injectors, and then connect back over here. So everything's going to be hidden under the intake manifold. And then also I am doing a kind of a loop system on the power steering because it is a power steering rack, but we have no power steering pump. We deleted that, or we didn't have it. Maybe we did, I can't remember. But anyway, I have a hose that goes from here over to here, and then this one will do the same. And I've got a reservoir that I'm going to mount here where the charcoal canister would normally be, and they'll connect up into there, and then we'll fill that with power steering fluid. So that way when you turn your steering, it'll suck and draw the power steering fluid through the rack. And you know, some people just loop this, but that can cause problems with pressure will build up, and then your steering will get really tight. So that's what we're going to do with that. I need to get the cable that goes to the transmission, to the cluster. We need to get that installed, and then we can finish up with the cluster and button that all back up. As far as the intake manifold, I think what I'm going to do is go to the junkyard and I'll measure this portion right here. That way I can find a throttle body that will fit. So I'm going to go to the junkyard and find a throttle body that will fit on this, that has the map sensor on the top. I just think it looks cleaner than the normal EF map sensor bullshit that's on the firewall. But at this point, I think the owner just wants to get this thing started and running, because I've had this thing for like a year and I've been pushing it and pushing it. I also need to get the wiring for the fan, because this was broke off, and I have the other section of it that connects to the fan down here, but we'll have to shorten it and everything just because it's longer and we don't need all that. I'm not sure what this one was for. This one might be for the other fan, because this car originally did have AC, but that's all been pulled out by somebody at one point. But I'm not going to the junkyard now because it's like already 5 o'clock, and I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow morning or afternoon, I'm not sure. So I'm going to try to hit up the junkyard tomorrow and find that throttle body, and then we can take care of that. But right now I'm going to just finish stripping this wiring harness and get it all laid out. That way it could all be kind of tucked and look nice. I'm not really going to record that because stripping a harness is not really good content.